this might be hard to see, but this is my Strava. Today I did a, what does that say? Almost 10,000 step walk, almost 5 miles as well. And yeah, I was basically talking to ChatGPT. I was trying to figure out a database schema, and for some reason, databases coming up with their schema is extremely difficult because, as a wise man once said, um, hardest things in programming are one, naming things, and two, being single, being gay. So essentially, I'll just show you how I use ChatGPT. The interesting thing is on that walk, I think I spent at least an hour just walking around, talking to myself. I had my AirPods in, so I didn't look that fucking insane. But just imagine, like, you see me walking down the path, like, yeah, and then the child services, and I kept saying child services and parent services because I was, like, talking about, like, database relations where it's, like, a child and a parent, and I got this weird look from this lady who had a kid by her, and I was like, oh, no. So, anyways, that might be a lesson in itself, but, yeah, let's check it out. So this conversation right here isn't actually that long. You can see, I mean, we can scroll through it pretty quickly, but this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm just kind of dumping my brain out, into, and it honestly, it doesn't matter that you're actually talking to ChatGPT. The real differences I found is two things. So first off, the way that you speak when you're just talking to yourself or thinking in your mind is very fragmented. Like, you'll start a thought and then you'll think of something else and you'll just peel off into that other direction. And because of that, you end up having a pretty inefficient thought process. Like, you keep, like, getting stuck where you forget what you're thinking about. At least I do. Or you kind of end up just, like, going in circles. And the difference is when you're talking to ChatGPT, or anyone, in fact, you actually have to put together something that makes sense because they're going to have a response, and you actually want to put together kind of an argument or a prompt for the language model. And so that's how it's actually helpful. That's one of the reasons. So the other reason is that when you do finally explain things well, so what I was doing is I was trying to figure out, like, what's the best kind of database structure, what's the pros and cons, how should I do this, and essentially I got it to summarize what I had been thinking, which was three different ways to organize the database. And this is, like, pretty helpful because you're thinking and all your thoughts are just kind of out there, and once you kind of finish that thought, which, by the way, I think this was a 10-minute, maybe this one, or there was, like, another one where it's just straight 10 minutes of me walking and talking and thinking. Then it actually gave me a response, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm thinking, these are the options, and honestly don't really look at that. I kind of skim it, and then I'm, like, already thinking about the next thing. But yeah, I think the kind of surprising thing for me was that I spent an hour or over an hour. I mean, like, this walk was an hour and 45 minutes. I don't know if you can see that. It was an hour and 45 minutes. By the way, follow me on Strava. And, okay, I was trying to find my Strava username. It's just my full name. It's right below this video. So, essentially, I spent, like, over an hour, just talking to myself, just trying to figure it out, kind of brute force, and I really didn't get anywhere. I mean, I was kind of figuring stuff out, but then I would run into problems that I forgot about, and I would just go, okay, this is kind of not working. And then I fired up ChatGPT, and just the act of, maybe it was the hour before where I finally tried to, like, actually summarize everything, but it eventually made sense, and I actually figured out something that I was happy with, which I've since changed, which may or may not negate this whole video. But essentially, it was talking to ChatGPT. I feel like that different way of thinking where you're talking to someone that really changes things. And ChatGPT, like, the last 3 or 4 days when I've gone for a walk, I've been on the phone with ChatGPT, so to speak, I'll fire up a voice conversation and just kind of like talk through whatever I'm trying to mull over, and it's been pretty helpful. I mean, I'll come back from walks with like a lot of clarity on a certain topic, whatever the kind of um, objective of the day is, and yeah, I hadn't really done that. It's weird. Like you would never just call up a friend and be like, "Hey, I'm walking right now and I need someone to talk to." I mean, maybe you would do that, but I wouldn't because time is there's better things to do than just sitting on the phone like while you're doing something else because your friend won't shut up. So, anyways, I'm that friend to ChatGPT that I will not shut up, and it's a good listener. Just so you know, the advanced voice mode, terrible rip off. If you can do the one where you just talk and it transcribes after a while, like this, or no, like this, it'll show. See, it's like dark text. This was me just stream of consciousness, and then it transcribes afterward. Whereas this is like the real time audio thing, which is fucking garbage, dude. It's so bad. It's like glitchy. It barely works. It's super slow. It interrupts you. It's just a horrible experience. So I would use this. You're not going to get interrupted that way. And you probably don't need ChatGPT Premium for that. I'm not too sure on that. I have it. That's why I'm not too sure. But yeah, hopefully this video was a little bit helpful to the 9 people that watched it. I'm trying to do a thing where I make a daily video, and this is just kind of like a vlog because I'm working on something else. I don't have time. I didn't even think about what to make a video about, and now it's kind of crunch time. I've got stuff to do later this evening, and I'm like, just make a video right now, little blog like this. So thanks for watching. See you next time.